Well, hello there guys, welcome back to my channel. Yes, today I have for you yet again another exciting video, and it's the very start of my series on the Jehovah's Witness. I'll probably have about 4 or 5 videos on them, but I don't intend on doing any more than that, right? Because I think there is enough advocates or ex-JW activists. So I think you guys will see all the information on YouTube, Google search and everything. So you don't need me to give much. But for this channel, I cannot bypass the Jehovah's Witnesses, and one of the reasons is that they are located in Jamaica, where I am living, and as a matter of fact, there's quite a good amount of Jehovah's Witness in Jamaica, many churches and so forth. It's not like the Mormons, right? I don't plan to do much on Mormonism because this group they're not in abundance in Jamaica. As I would have stated before, Jamaicans are a people that believe in one God. So if you want to trick Jamaican Christian in any form of false doctrine, you can't be saying 3 gods and expect to have any leeway with Jamaicans. You have to at least say there is one and teach all kind of nonsense about him. Maybe you might have a chance, right? But the fact that Mormon said 3, every Jamaican Christian will tell you there is only one. So such a group can never have any dominance in Jamaica. But Jehovah's Witness, they succeed in getting a good foothold. Why? Because they acknowledge that there is just one God. But their views about this one God, it's radically different from what most Christians believe, which gave them a strong foothold in Jamaica, right? Because they say that there is one, but at the same time, they deviate greatly from what majority of us actually believe in. And so it's due to this factor why I'm going to talk about the Jehovah's Witness cult, right? Now, I'll be reading from the book Kingdom of the Cults. I won't be reading everything from out of it. You can research the history for yourself. The founder is Charles T. Russell. I hope I pronounced that right. Right? What I'll be looking at is the structural authority of the Jehovah's Witness. Right? He reads thus, or the book reads thus: at first glance, Jehovah's Witnesses seems to be the model of religious democracy. In their informational booklet, What Does God Require of Us?, congregational leaders are described. These men are not elevated above the rest of the congregation, citing Matthew 23 verse 8 to 10. They are not given special titles, citing 2 Corinthians 1 verse 24. They do not dress differently from others. Neither are they paid for their work. However, in reality, the Watchtower is an absolute autocracy. All authority is vested in the governing body, including the authority to understand and teach the Bible. Quote, so Jehovah's visible organization under Christ is a channel for bringing the divine interpretation of his word to his devoted people. This is what Jehovah's Witness say from their book, right? And this is what Walter Martin quoted. Yes, now here are some other quotes. We acknowledge as the visible organization of Jehovah on earth, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, and recognize the society as a channel or instrument through which Jehovah and Christ give instruction and meet in due season to the household of faith. Right? So the first quote is telling you that the Jehovah's Witness organization is a channel, right? Under Christ is a channel for bringing the divine interpretation of his word to his devoted people. Now, as far as I know, where the Bible is concerned, the Holy Spirit is a channel through which the interpretation of God's word is given to those who wish to understand his word. Sure, he might use persons to actually do that, but nowhere in scripture does it say that God has an organization through which he uses to teach and interpret his word. Right? But the Jehovah's Witness say Their organization is what God used to basically interpret the word of God. Just let that sink in for a little while. Right? But I'm going to get back to that. Here's the other quote. If we are to walk in the light of truth, we must recognize not only Jehovah God as our father, but his organization as our mother. These are similar sentiments that you'll hear from the Mormon church as well as the Seventh-day Adventist church. Because if what they say is true, you know, that the watchtower then, right, is God's, is the mother then, so to speak. That means that you cannot leave the watchtower society. You understand? If the watchtower society is the mother, you know, and God is our father, right, then that means you can't leave the watchtower society. Right? It's similar to SDA saying that they are the remnant church. And if that's true, then naturally you wouldn't want to leave God's remnant church, right? It's the same thing with the Kevin Smith cult that I was covering, where one of his members says that his church is the covering. Therefore, you cannot leave from the covering, right? And these are sentiments that cults will generally make. This is how they talk about themselves. And once claims like those are made, you know, you will understand why it's not so easy to leave. Because once you believe that, you know, what it's going to boil down to, you're going to feel as though you're leaving God, right? And this is why cults generally style their members as apostates. Because once you leave their group, you're basically said to be apostatizing, then, so to speak. Because it is God's church, it is the true church, not the body of Christ collectively as the church of God, you know. Their specific group is God's church, God's only true church on earth. Right? This is what you're basically getting from the Jehovah's Witness. So hey, give them a round of applause for having something in common with the Seventh-day Adventist church. Give them a round of applause. All cults will say something similar. Right? It's a way to kind of psychologically trap members in. Yeah, but let me read a few more and not speak too much and take up the time here. Make haste to identify the visible theocratic organization of God that represents his King, Jesus Christ. It is essential for life. Doing so, be complete in accepting its every aspect. So it is essential for life, you know, to identify the visible theocratic organization of God, which represents his King. That is the Jehovah's Witness Church. It is essential for life. No salvation is dependent upon acknowledging this. Right? Salvation is dependent. So now, the Jehovah's Witnesses are saved by acknowledging God's theocratic organization, which is the Jehovah's Witness Church, or Jehovah's Witness cult, then, so to speak. Right? It's a cult, you know. You don't need just those statements alone. Automatically should let you get. If you understand what a cult is, you should automatically say, hey, this is a cult. And you are indeed correct. Right? Because salvation, nowhere in the Bible does it tell you that it is essential for life to acknowledge any organization. Right? Salvation is not dependent upon that. Right, guys? And you must accept every aspect of what they say, then, so to speak. They, which is witnesses, must adhere absolutely to the decision and scriptural understanding of the society, because God has given it its authority over his people. You must adhere absolutely to it. So that means, you know, that you shouldn't question anything then if you are to adhere absolutely to it. You'll find Seventh-day Adventists, Ellen White, saying the same things. Right? And I'm going to have a video where I talk about that. You're going to see that video drop very, very soon. Look forward to it. Right? Avoid independent thinking, questioning the counsel that is provided by God's visible organization. Fight against independent thinking. You hear what they say? You should fight against it. Don't try to think for yourself. Allow the Jehovah's Witness to do that for you. It is far too dangerous to think on your own. Well, I must admit that the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not so brazen. They are much more subtle, right? Ellen White is far more subtle than this, right? You can understand why Christians fail to understand or to acknowledge that the SDA Church. They fail to see that the SDA Church is a cult because Ellen White is far more subtle than this. If you tell any Christian this, they should know right off the bat. They will acknowledge right off the bat that this is a cult. But the SDA Church use more subtle tactics than this, because even a kindergarten should actually see that this is cultic statements. To continue, to receive everlasting life in the earthly paradise, we must identify that organization and serve God as part of it. So if you want to receive everlasting life, you must identify that organization and serve God as part of it. So acknowledge the Jehovah's Witness as God's organization and serve a part of it. And serve God in it then, so to speak, if you want to have everlasting life. I don't read none of that in the Bible, but this is what the Jehovah's Witness say. Dissent, here is Walter Martin speaking now. Dissent is not permitted, and if discovered, is punished swiftly and completely. Jehovah's Witnesses are excluded from membership or disfellowship, not merely for gross, unrepentant immortality or heresy, but also for questioning the teachings and authority of the society. They did say you should avoid independent thinking. So naturally, if you try to question it and so forth, punishment should arise. If you look at the statements that I read from, right, if it's God organization, then you shouldn't question it, right? So he goes on to say, should a witness be disfellowship, he learns firsthand what it means to be shunned by the very people he once considered his friends, family, and brothers and sisters in Christ. Witnesses are taught, quote, a disfellowship person is cut off from the congregation, and the congregation has nothing to do with them. Those in the congregation will not extend the hand of fellowship to this one, nor will they so much as say hello or goodbye to him. The congregation members will not converse with such a one or show him recognition in any way. If the disfellowship person attempts to talk to others in the congregation, they should walk away from him. In this way, he will feel the power of his sin. No, the Bible doesn't tell any Christian that they should do any of that regarding anyone who commit a sin. This is very, very much contradictory to what the Bible actually says. But the thing is, they fear that whatever caused you to actually leave, if you have any relationship with persons that is in, you may want to give wind to whatever problems that is in the congregation, and thus you find that other persons will actually be exiting. So this is why they set it up in such a way that should a person so happen to be seeing problems or seeing errors, right? If you want to show it to your fellow brother, you won't get access to do that, because they program members to shun you then, so to speak, so that you can never see the light of day in what your fellow congregant has actually seen. This is a rather skilled manipulative tactic, if you ask me. Right? The disfellowship person who wants to do what is right should inform any approaching him that he is disfellowship, and they should not be conversing with him. So this is what a disfellowship person should do if they want to do what is right. What if a person cut off from God's congregation unexpectedly visits dedicated witness relatives? What should the Jehovah's Witness Christian do then? If this is the first occurrence of such a visit, the dedicated Christian can, if his conscience permits, carry on family courtesies on that particular occasion. However, if his conscience does not permit, he is under no obligation to do so. If courtesies are extended, though, the Christian should make it clear that this will not be made a regular practice. The excommunicated relative should be made to realize that his visits are not now welcome as they were previously when he was walking correctly with Jehovah. These are some fascinating statements. Now I can imagine if when I left the Sunday church I was in and joined the Seventh-day Adventist church, boy, I don't know how I would deal with it if my grandmother had actually showed me. Only the Jehovah's Witness actually practice this, as far as I know. Right? Imagine that. But this is not biblical though. Nor in the Bible does God tell Christians that they should treat a quote-unquote sinner in this way. Now, if a person leaves the Jehovah's Witness church, or sometimes they're disfellowship because of their discoveries, right? They find out that it's false and they want to be maybe a part of another congregation. You're still expected to not have any conversation with them. As a Jehovah's Witness, you shouldn't talk to that person who basically leave. It's not a case of sin either, It's just because you choose to leave from their organization. Fascinating, isn't it? But let me continue. Witnesses are not only to isolate themselves from those who were once witnesses and have been disfellowship or disassociated, but also from anyone who is not a witness and who attempts to present a view contrary to the Watchtower. No witness is allowed to read dissenting material, whether it is written by a disgruntled Jehovah's Witness, a disfellowship or disassociated witness, or someone who has never been a witness. Have no dealing with apostates. Quote, have no dealing with apostates. For example, what will you do if you receive a letter or some literature? Open it and see right away that it is from an apostate. Will curiosity cause you to read it just to see what he has to say? You may even reason, it won't affect me, I'm too strong in the truth. And besides, if we have the truth, we have nothing to fear. The truth will stand the test. In thinking this way, some have fed their minds upon apostate reasoning and have fallen prey to serious questioning and doubts. This is a very ingenious way to ensure that their errors is never uncovered by other members, to suppress basically information, then, so to speak. That's come under the BITE model. If you check it out, Steve Hassan's BITE model, one of the things that cult do, BIT, behavior control, information control, thought control, and emotional control. This is where the I actually come in. Information control. Right? Surprising. If they have nothing to, if they are in the truth, it shouldn't be a problem to see apostate material, But you and I know, my viewers, that the Jehovah's Witness Church has no truth, and they have to employ these draconian methods in order to control their members, then, so to speak. Right? It goes on to say, surprisingly, Jehovah's witnesses are told that it is right to question what one believes and to search out God's will for ourselves. In what used to be their standard introductory study for new prospective members, the truth that leads to eternal life, they taught, quote, we need to examine not only what we personally believe, but also what is taught by any religious organization with which we may be associated. Are its teaching in full harmony with God's word, or are they based on the traditions of men? If we are lovers of the truth, there is nothing to fear from such an examination. It should be the sincere desire of every one of us to learn what God's will is for us and then to do it. However, the society means by this exhortation that one is supposed to test his own non-witness religion, not the teachings of the Watchtower Society. Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to study the Bible on their own, to interpret what they read in the Bible for themselves, or to teach directly from the Bible. Rather, they must teach from approved Watchtower publications about the Bible. Concerning the Bible, the society says, rather, we should seek for dependent Bible study rather than for independent Bible study. So don't try to depend on yourself to study the Bible. You need to be dependent upon them to study the Bible. He does not impart his Holy Spirit and understanding and appreciation of his word apart from his visible organization. The Bible is an organizational book and belongs to the Christian congregation as a whole, not to individuals, regardless of how sincerely they may believe that they can interpret the Bible. For this reason, the Bible cannot be properly understood without Jehovah's visible organization in mind. These are some brazen statements, you know. We all need help to understand the Bible. And we cannot find scriptural guidance we need outside the faithful and discreet slave organization. They call themselves the faithful and discreet slave. So we need help to understand the Bible, and we cannot find scriptural guidance we need outside of them, the faithful and discreet slave. They, that is questioners, say that it is sufficient to read the Bible exclusively, either alone or in small groups at home. But strangely, through such Bible reading, they have reverted back to the apostate doctrines that commentaries by Christendom's clergy were teaching 100 years ago. The Watchtower Bible and Chalk Society has weathered the storms of its inconsistent and turbulent history by enforcing absolute control over its members and by excluding anyone who dares to question anything. It should not surprise us, therefore, that most witnesses have memorized the basic doctrinal teachings of the society and will defend them adamantly, even when their defense is irrational, unbiblical, and unhistorical. We turn now to the doctrines of Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, I'm going to end on this note, right? I'm going to end on this note, guys, because I simply have no choice because of time constraints. In my next video, I'm going to look at some of their beliefs. Right, guys? I'm sure you guys should be excited just by what I just showed. When I go through their beliefs, you're going to see why they have to employ such draconian methods in order to keep their members locked in. You're going to see the gross errors. Then you will understand why they have to choose these methods, so that truth never actually hits home to their members. This is their desperate attempt to basically lock the door of truth from ever entering into the hearts of their members. Right? We'll talk about that in my next video. By God's grace, I'll have it uploaded for you on Friday. With that being said, I end this video. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Bye bye now.